What is up? Welcome to another episode of HansenAthletics Radio. Definitely time to get an episode up for you guys as we head into the new year. Super stoked for 2025. 2024 was really great for Hansen Athletics with the expansion of our facility, PTs coming into the clinic, and just a host of new athletes that we've been able to work with. So I'm thankful to everyone that supports us, and as a podcast listener, you are part of that. So again, I appreciate you. Today, we're going to talk about the big three of recovery: sleep, nutrition, and hydration. When maximizing athletic performance, or even for you adults listening out there, when you're trying to achieve the best physique possible or be able to accomplish the things that you want to outside of the gym, I would think that most of us that are adults that are serious about our training and fitness, usually there's something that we're training for, whether that's being able to play with the kids and do whatever they need to do, whether it's being able to be capable at your job and whatnot. So I think a lot of times when it comes to training, a lot of social media, a lot of today's world kind of emphasizes training harder. Like if you hop on Instagram right now, I'm sure you can find 500 videos about training harder, people pushing the limits, running farther and farther, lifting, adding more and whatnot. And it's just not really realistic for the majority of people out there that actually have a job, right? So with the focus on, training harder, lifting more weight, running faster, I think it's important to realize to achieve kind of peak performance and feel and look the best that you can. Now, recovery is just as big a part of that. So it's the same importance level as your training, but also potentially even more important when it comes to being able to do this for the long term. When we talk about longevity, it's super important in our life as we age, as we get older, to be able to continue to train and keep our bodies healthy. And that would be one big thing we emphasize with our youth athletes, is teaching them to train in a way and find a love for training that will allow them to keep doing this for the rest of their life. So without proper recovery, all the training can lead to burnout, fatigue, and diminished performance. Recovery isn't just about rest as well. It's about a combination of those three: sleep, nutrition, and hydration. And we really preach that as our staff to the youth athletes that come into our facility. So let's dive into why each component plays a vital role in helping athletes and adults recover between training sessions. This is going to, again, improve the quality of life, improve your ability to come back in the gym and repeat the efforts and get in the best shape of your life. So number one is sleep. Again, the ultimate recovery tool. I always tell my high school athletes, I said, if you're not sleeping enough, you're basically giving up the best steroids you can at your age. So sleep is super important, and it's the most underrated tool in a athlete or adult's recovery arsenal. During sleep, the body undergoes essential repair processes that help restore energy and repair muscle tissue, which we'll get into a little bit about the mental side as well. So why sleep matters: the muscle repair and growth. For those that don't understand, when you exercise, you're actually creating damage in your body. You're creating tiny tears in your muscle fibers, challenging the ligaments, tendons, fascia. And the only way to recover from that and have your body rebuild from those efforts is while you rest, especially during deep sleep. So if you have any kind of fitness tracker, a Garmin watch, or a ring, anything like that, you can kind of monitor your deep sleep and see how much you're getting. If you're kind of under recovered, you might find that you're getting a lot more deep sleep and missing out on some of the other parts of sleep because you're behind on repairing your body. So during that sleep, you're repairing the muscle fibers. That's what actually leads to muscle growth and strength gains. So again, if you aren't sleeping, you're not going to really, if you have those goals of, putting on more muscle, getting stronger, you want to get toned, look lean, that process is facilitated by the release of growth hormone, and that happens during the deep stages of sleep. So if you aren't sleeping, you're really stunting your ability to grow and adapt to the training that you are doing and taking the time to do, which can essentially lead to you wasting your time, burnout, potentially not even getting the results that you could with less work. Energy restoration. So sleep replenishes glycogen stores. This provides energy for your intense physical activity. Oftentimes, if our athletes aren't sleeping, we notice that right away in their training. They have a hard time recovering between sets, maybe 1-2 sprints, just totally gas them. We can tell when athletes have been sleeping, and not just by their outputs during training. Without enough sleep, these stores are depleted and your performance is going to suffer big time, as well as your ability to recover. So again, this is a good example is if you ever showed up for a training session in the morning and you were completely gassed after you just warmed up and you're like, what's going on here? and potentially could come down to, now let's get into mental recovery. That's, a hot topic in today's world, the mental health, schooling, being able to learn and adapt and be able to take in knowledge and then reinforce that. And that's all going to happen during sleep. So adequate sleep helps to reset the brain, improving cognitive functions like focus, reaction time, and decision making. Again, important for sports, but also important for life. This is especially important for athletes who need quick thinking and mental clarity during games and practices, or I'd say even parents that have kids, right? Being able to think on your feet, be mentally clear, and lead from example with those that are kids. And again, for most athletes, education is also a big part of their day, the biggest part of their day, really. And sleep is going to help you perform in all those facets, including the mental side. So for athletes, I would definitely recommend 8 to 10 hours of quality sleep per night. And that's kind of essential for optimal recovery. If you're an adult listening to this, that might not be possible. But again, I think at least shooting for 7+ hours is really important in setting up your day to work around that. 2 is nutrition, fueling your body right. What you eat directly impacts the way your body can recover and also looks. Proper nutrition replenishes lost nutrients, supports tissue repair, and ensures that the body has energy it needs for the training or competition in life, the tasks that you have for it. Now, I want to highlight that this proper nutrition is a huge thing for you. And when you talk about aesthetics, looking a certain way, people want to lose weight, lose body fat, tone up. All those are roundabout ways of just saying, nutrition is going to be 70 to 80% of that. So what you eat is going to really affect what you look like. And a lot of times people just think they can train, and they're going to look a certain way. Maybe they follow somebody on Instagram and they want to look that way. Odds are it really comes down to genetics. And if you're not making the progress you want but you're going to the gym, nutrition is likely like 95% of the time and part of that equation and something people are missing out on. So we talked about muscle growth, repair, and growth. When it comes to nutrition side, protein is a crucial nutrient for muscle recovery. After training, consuming an adequate amount of protein helps repair the muscles while you're sleeping that you make during physical activity. It also helps prevent muscle breakdown and supports the growth of new muscle fibers. So protein is huge. You guys probably know that. Again, you're aiming for, at least I shoot for with my athletes, 1 gram per pound of body weight, or what their goal weight is. And then carbohydrate replenishment. Oftentimes carbohydrates are made the enemy, but carbohydrates are a primary energy source for athletes, endurance athletes, power athletes, anything that you're competing and doing repeat efforts over time. Carbohydrates can be really important in those settings. When you eat them, they're stored as glycogen in muscles. So after intense training, replenishing these glycogen stores through a balanced intake of carbs is crucial to avoid fatigue during the next session. Carbs are a must for hard charging athletes or parents. So if you caught on to that, I would say right after you work out, you want to make sure you're intaking, everybody talks about protein, but also carbohydrate. So whether that be ideally fruit, something natural, but also there are supplements that are just carb-based that you can mix into your protein shake and get some of that done there. Lastly, let's talk about the anti-inflammatory benefits. A well-balanced diet that includes antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals can help reduce inflammation and muscle soreness after intense exercise. So foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids, such as like fish or flax seeds, can aid in reducing muscle inflammation and accelerating recovery. Can't dive into that enough. Inflammation is a huge marker for just overall health. If you go get your blood work done and do a full panel, you're going to get inflammation markers. And inflammation is a killer. And it's the number one thing. If we can limit inflammation, keep our body moving and healthy and not inflamed, we're going to make a ton of progress as well as feel much better. So again, athletes should aim for a balanced post-workout meal that includes high-quality protein, complex carbohydrates, and healthy fats. Timing meals properly is important. You definitely want to try to get something in between that 30 to 60-minute window after training, and that's going to help you further enhance recovery. And remember, whole foods are always the better option. Keep that in mind when you're looking to fuel your body. Lastly, we'll talk about hydration. It's a key performance indicator and the ability to recover the way you're supposed to. Hydration is often overlooked. It's essential to all aspects of recovery. The human body is made up of about 60% water. So proper hydration is necessary for almost every bodily function, from nutrient transport to temperature regulation. Think about blood, how blood moves everything throughout the body. That's primarily water. So if you're not drinking enough water, you're actually missing out on something that's 60% of your body. So getting into why hydration matters, you've got fluid balance. Dehydration can lead to muscle cramps, fatigue, and even impaired performance. When athletes sweat, they lose both water and electrolytes, which need to be replaced. If hydration is not restored properly, it can lead to decreased performance, slower recovery, and an increased risk of injury. So those are all pretty big things, right? Again, decreased performance, slower recovery, and increased risk of injury. Those are all things that we don't want. So that's why hydration is super important when it comes down to, all these major things that you maybe didn't think of when it comes to your performance. You might never think, oh, I just need to, hydrate better, but that's the case. When it comes to nutrient transport, so talking about, okay, now we're eating right, proper hydration ensures that the nutrients, including the proteins and carbohydrates mentioned earlier, are efficiently transported to the muscles and tissues. This support really helps muscle recovery and helps in the rebuilding process, and it also reduces inflammation. So adequate fluid intake flushes out metabolic waste products like lactic acid and urea, which build up during intense exercise and contribute to soreness and fatigue. So staying hydrated helps expedite the removal of these toxins and speeds up recovery. So again, athletes, parents, human beings should aim to drink plenty of water throughout the day. With added attention to rehydrating after intense physical activity or during competition, sports drinks containing electrolytes can be beneficial for replenishing lost minerals. But again, there can be a lot of junk in those drinks. So make sure you look into which ones you're going to intake and do some research into that. So kind of wrap it up, again, the power of sleep, nutrition, hydrations. The recovery side is just as important as the training itself. Proper sleep, nutrition, hydration, your performance can quickly plateau, and even the most intense workouts will potentially fail to yield the results that you're looking for. So just adding more and more work and not focus on recovery is actually going to be harmful and potentially not get you the results that you want, when you could probably work less or recover better and get better results. Sleep allows the body to repair and regenerate. Nutrition fuels muscle growth and energy restoration. And then hydration ensures optimal body functions are maintained. I'm confident after working with thousands of athletes that many would benefit from slightly less training and more recovery. They have a really hard time keeping that in check and putting the effort into those things that are not as sexy or potentially not as fun, right? But they're even more important. By prioritizing these three elements, athletes can enhance their recovery, or adults can enhance their recovery process, reduce the risk of injury, and again, make sure you're performing at your highest potential. And whether you're gearing up for your next game, preparing for a training cycle, or just want to crush it at work, just remember the recovery is a key part of that process. As a coach, constant communication about the big three and having real conversations based on athletes' daily training has been the biggest contributor to athletes buying in. So it isn't easy and it gets old. So if you're a parent trying to, reinforce this with an athlete, you're a coach trying to reinforce this with an athlete, just consistently preach and teach and talk to them and have those conversations, even if at first you don't get a lot of traction. So for a bonus, I wanted to talk a little bit about heating. When we talk about, being hydrated, we talk about nutrition, we talk about all these things helping the body's processes. Circulation and blood flow is super important. So when it comes to recovering between sessions and athletes trying to stay healthy, or adults, heat is one of my favorite ways and time tested. Like, I have been sauning 3 to 4 times a week. I feel much better than when I used to be ice bathing 2 or 3 times a week. Just think about it like cold is going to slow down processes, but it's going to help reduce inflammation and pain. So if you're someone that has a lot of pain, struggles with arthritis, has issues with joints, ice can definitely be a very strong and applicable tool. But I would say at the end of the day, heat is more important. So getting consistent heat exposure, not only does it help, keep your heart healthy because it's working your cardiovascular system, but number 2, it's going to help pump nutrients throughout the body. When I'm consistently heating, I feel much better than when I'm consistently icing. So I'd recommend, heating, whether it's a hot bath, whether it's a sauna, whatever you can do there, doing that, 3 to 4 times a week. And a good place to throw in cold is actually between efforts of that. So potentially you spend 10 minutes in a sauna, ice bath for 3 minutes, 10 minutes in a sauna, and definitely end with the heat for the recovery side. Just wanted to note that because I think a lot of people, focus on cold to recover, but I truly believe that heat, from my experience and from what I've been reading and studying, that again, heat is going to be the number one factor in helping you can start your recovery process. So getting blood flow is key. So hopefully that's insightful to some of you guys. I really appreciate you guys that listen to this. Not as much fun today, just a little bit more information packed. We have a couple guests lined up to be on the show soon. Those are my favorite episodes. So continue to support, give us a follow on any platform, and subscribe to the show. Again, no fees for the show, just looking for people that it helps to share and tell their friends about it. So have a great day. Appreciate you guys, and we get excited as we head into the new year in 2025. If you guys need help with dialing in any of this stuff, your training, your recovery, your nutrition, anything like that, feel free to reach out. We have awesome on-site program, training programs, and coaching services, as well as remote. So from anywhere in the world. Again, Coach D out. Thanks, guys.